Okay, welcome today. So I'm calling this class, I have a lot of fun picking the names of my classes. I'm calling it Check In and Roll Out. So we'll do just that. We'll check in and start of the week. How are we doing? Where are we at? And we'll roll. We'll roll either on our balls or we'll roll on a foam roller. And today, I didn't copy your foam roller. We're gonna mainly use a foam roller or only. I didn't even grab my balls. So let's start by sitting on our foam roller unless you prefer not to. I love foam rollers for sitting on because they're high and firm, so you can find a nice seat there sometimes. But if you can't find a nice seat, you can sit in a different way. When you feel ready, close your eyes, begin to settle in. It's kind of like you're a puzzle, but all of your pieces are spread all over the place. And as you sit here, it's like you're a magnet and you're pulling all those little pieces of your puzzle back together. The puzzle might not come together, but you're gathering the pieces back. And begin to check in and notice how you're feeling mentally. What are the quality of your thoughts? What's the speed of your thoughts? Just observing. And sometimes it's hard to even decipher what our thoughts are, but just noticing. And what we think normally it has an emotional component. Now beginning to fill into the many emotions you're probably experiencing. If your brain doesn't think in words, you might just feel the emotion. This doesn't have to look or be a certain way. And then we're going to check in and notice how you're feeling physically in your body. When I check in physically, sometimes in my head I'll think I'm feeling good, not good. That's kind of the verbiage I'll use. And lately I've been trying to get more into the actual sensation. So a sensation has to do with your five senses. Maybe it's hot or tight or loud or bouncy. Maybe different areas feel different things. And this can be really challenging because as we live in a world and we have everything that happens has a somatic, a feeling in our body as well. And feeling a ton of painful things doesn't help us function in the world. So we can learn to not feel in our body and just think and feel in our heart. So this practice, especially as we use these tools, are a really good opportunity to practice feeling. Now begin to open your eyes a little bit and find something in the room that catches your eye and look at it. I'm looking at my chair. Now I'm noticing the textures of the chair, the colors of it, and bring yourself into this room and feel yourself sitting here with that object in the room. So now you're more present. So if at any moment your sensations that you're experiencing becomes too much, that's a good way to orient yourself and bring yourself out. Okay, we're going to start in table on our knees, and then we're going to use the foam roller under the hands. Dog Dharma's joining me today. Dharma, or not Dharma, here we go. Previous doc. Okay, with your hands on your roller, and if this causes your wrist pain, you don't need to use the roller. You can have your hands on the floor. This is just kind of fun. We're going to do some cat-cows as you're inhaling, moving the spine in one direction, and then as you exhale, move the spine in the other. I used to think there was a right way to move the spine when you inhaled and a right way to move it on an exhale. I've since learned all ways work at different times. Really nice as you inhale, come back through center. We're going to turn the palms away from each other now. Knees a little bit wide and shift side to side. And a little bit more mobility in the wrists and the shoulders. Now push through your hands as you go side to side and round your upper back towards the sky as you go up and over. You can get a little extra stretch there. And then flip your palms backwards, fingertips face towards you, modifying in a way that makes this not as intense. And then as you inhale again, you can move the spine through cat-cow, opening and rounding. Really nice. Now flip your palms forward again. Sit back on your heels. And we're going to practice rolling the foam roller out and then pulling it in. Rolling it out. Pulling it in. Rolling it out. Pulling it in. This time as you pull it in, keep your right fingertips on the foam roller and open up towards the left, doing a spinal rotation. And then roll out the roller and slide your left arm between your right arm and your right knee. It's like a twisted child's pose, or you could roll a little bit more forward and make it a twisted table. We're going to roll back in and open up to the left. And then roll out, thread the needle. Roll in, open to the left. This is going to last time. Thread needle. This time I'm going to shift my hips up over my knee, place my right hand on my foam roller, and turn my right elbow up to the sky. So you can push through the right hand and get a little bit more rotation through the spine. You can target this a little bit more in your upper back by kind of stretching your arm further through, or you can get this more in your hip by pulling your left hip a little bit over to the left. Notice how as we do these different movements, they're going to stir up thoughts in your mind and feelings and your emotions and sensations in your physical body. Replant your right hand down on the foam roller so you can pull it in. And then we're going to switch sides. Left fingertips on the foam roller. Left arm stretch or right arm stretches open to the right, twisting. And then roll your left arm out and thread the right arm through. Roll it in. Twist. Roll it out, thread. Pull it in, twist. Roll it out, thread. So you have the option to take it into that deeper threaded needle, maybe taking left hand to roller, elbow above hand. Maybe even taking your hips above your knees. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. See if you can drop into that somatic experience of the sensations you feel in the twist. Maybe broadening the right hip to the right. And then prepare the left hand to pull the roller in and twist the right arm to the right. Nice little shoulder roll. And then let's rock up and over on our toes, coming to Milan Squat. Set your roller off to the side for a moment. Now I like to shift around in my squat, putting one heel towards the floor and then the other, trying to get the head of your femur bones to move in the pelvis. When we're going to shift, this is going to be our middle pose as we shift between two lunges. So first I'm going to shift to the right. So I'm going to shift myself to the right. I'm going to place my left hand down and I'm going to kick my left foot back to a high runner's lunge. My left hand's going to stay on the floor and then I'm going to twist up and move around a little bit, figure out where this posture is for you this morning. We're going to do this a few times, and then from this pose, we're going to return to that Milan Squat. You're going to have to adjust back through center. And then we're going to pivot to the left. Right foot's going to step back, lengthening your lunge, twist up into the left. This is a morning practice. We'll feel around where are your tight spots. You can lengthen them out for the day and then turn back, little squat, and to the right. You can go at your own speed. Maybe holding the posture feels more appropriate for you based on your check-in. Maybe moving between them a little quicker. Always moving just a little bit slower than you think. Rushing is a good way to skip the feeling. Okay, and then when you feel about even, we're going to return to our Milan Squat. We're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to bring the back knee to the floor. So I'm going to pivot my right foot towards the right. I'm going to bring my left knee to the floor. Normally when you set the knee, you're in a pretty short stance. If you have knees that feel like they can bend, that's fine. You can shift your front knee further over your ankle. If your knee doesn't feel like it can bend further over your ankle, you can work your stance a little bit longer. But this is a really nice place to get a good dorsal flexion of that front ankle. And then again, left hand down, maybe right arm up. And we're going to move between these two poses again. So it doesn't need to be fluid and graceful. You can make as many little adjustments as you need. Just nice, good rotations in your femurs to open up the hips and spine this morning. And this doesn't even need to be like, in quotations, yoga. You can discover little new things here if they feel right. Sometimes in this little lunge, I'll take my front heel up off the floor. I'll add a twist. I do those things in response to the sensations in my body, not from my brain telling me I should do more. And I'm coming back to Milan Squat. Let's lift up the hips, standing forward fold. Have a little bend in your knees. Let's take a few sighs through the mouth. So inhale through your nose. Let it out through the mouth. 2 more. Okay. Walk over towards your forward fold, walk over towards your foam roller. My classes lately, we've been walking in our forward folds. So you can get a little that action in if your foam roller is far away. And then placing your hands on the foam roller a little bit in front of you, so you're kind of doing a table-ish pose in a forward fold. We're going to take the right foot forward, ball of the right foot on the foam roller, right heel on the floor. Trying to get your foot up the roller as much as you can. This is going to all depend on like the size of foot you have and flexibility. And then put a little bend into the right knee. Push down through the right heel and make some little refinements until you can feel a stretch in the back of your right hamstring. Excuse me, the back of your right calf. Lift your right toes away from the foam roller. Pull the toenails back towards your shin and then push the toes into the foam roller. Pull the toes away from the foam roller. Maybe even try to pull the ball of the foot away from the foam roller. And then push the foam roller with your foot. Great. Plant that right foot on the floor. Keep your hands on the bolster, the foam roller. Stretch the left leg up and open for a variation of standing splits. You can bend that left knee and take some knee circles. You might like to just open up and hang out in like a side stretch. Keep the right knee a little bend in it and the right kneecap facing more forward than the left. Really nice. And then we're going to take that left foot all the way forward and we're going to set the ball of the left foot up onto the foam roller with the heel on the floor. Whew. My sides are way different. Wanting to get this stretch towards the left calf. You might feel it different places if you're more tight, different places, but this is really meant to target that calf. Pushing down through the heel. Knee tipped a little bit forward. Left sit bone drags up. Try to pull the toenails away from the foam roller and then push the toes into the foam roller. Try to pull the toes away. My big toe pulls away a lot quicker than my pinky toe, so I'm going to try to pull my pinky toe back more. Oh, and I'll try to pull the ball of the foot away from the foam roller. Oh, pull it away, and then push it onto the foam roller. Nice. Well, that really helps open up the whole back line of this hamstring, so it's going to be much more prepared to press into the floor. Left foot comes flat to the floor. Foam roller is in a good spot for you to balance, and then stretch the right leg up and open. Push down through the left foot. Maybe head hangs heavy. Maybe take some knee circles. Really nice, and then place that foot on the floor. Inhale, take your hands to your thighs, lengthen halfway up. Then exhale, forward fold. Put your hands in front of your foam roller, and then we're going to kneel on the foam roller. Okay, so we're targeting our proneal muscles right now. So the muscles to the sides, the lateral sides of our calves. or our shin. So you can roll the block out and in. This is nice because it can add some core work. Or I don't really feel a ton on my calves there. I'll cross my ankles. So one of my calves, shins is on the back of my other calf. And then I'll kind of roll around and try to find my interesting spot. And I'll do one side at a time. If you find an interesting spot, you can hold it, and then you could move that foot, like flex it and point it. If you're doing one at a time, switch over to your other side. Okay. And then when you feel ready, we're going to be shifting to the front of the thigh. And this is going to work differently for different people. So you could do it on your belly, kind of like this, getting both thighs at the same time. Out and in on your elbows. Let's start with this one. So go all the way up. See if you can roll over your pubic bone with the bolster, and then roll all the way down. You might have to pull the knees in. Now find a spot on your quads and do windshield wipers with your feet, belly engaged. Take your feet over to one side and then the other. Cross fiber frictioning the quad so you could move the bolster up or down a little bit to find different spots. There's one spot that's really speaking to you. Don't just rush past it. It has something to say. Can you sit with it and feel it? And now we're going to move to a low lunge. Let's take our left foot forward first. And the real target of this is to get the quad again. So if this doesn't feel like it helps you get your quad better than our previous pose, you could stay there. I have my left foot wide and I'm moving up and down. Now when you roll out, there's a lot of awkwardness to it, especially when you're newer or out of practice. So you can notice what comes up in your mind and your emotions and your sensations when you feel awkward. You can roll your leg out a little bit or in, getting the outer or inner quad muscle. We'll get that outer hip area later. If you wanted, you could see if you enjoy the feeling of it with a quad stretch. Makes it much more intense. And then we're going to switch over to the other side. What I really love about online platforms for yoga is you just have your own space so much more. And I think we tend to be like kind to people. So when we're in a room together, we don't want to go off of what the teacher's saying. So it might confuse people or offend the teacher, but it's great when you're alone. If you like are doing this and you have some other idea, you have my permission to do that other idea. Whenever I roll, I like to do a whole kind of hello stroke, going up the whole muscle, and then I can start to narrow it in to where more sensations are held. I didn't say this on the other side, but you can find a spot to hold, and you could bend and straighten that knee. Well, maybe one of the times you bend it, you could go for the quad. Well, you don't have to do a quad. I rarely do a quad stretch here. It just felt right this morning. Normally the rolling out the quad is enough. I know, let's step our feet back and come to downward facing dog. First down dog of the class. Notice if your down dog doesn't feel as tight as it normally does your first time. Or maybe it does. My down dog feels much better than it normally does in the morning. And from here, we're going to walk the feet forward to the hand, stepping over the foam roller. And then we're going to have a seat on the ground, however you'd like. We're going to come to lay on our back, and then we're going to put the roller underneath the hips. Extend the legs straight out. If this hurts the back, you could use a block. If this is putting our back into a little bit of a back bend, so you could always lower yourself to a different height. And then let's pull the right knee into the chest. Because the hips are elevated and the ribs aren't, we're getting a little bit more access to the hip flexor muscles. We're going to experiment with the amount of sensations. You can hold that right knee and stretch that left foot out, and then figure out, like, at what point do you want to stop? Go too far and then be like, nope, not that far, and find your happy medium place. You could roll out the right foot here. If you roll out the right foot, hold a little bit lower on the right shin, so you secure the tibia and fibia, get more true ankle rotation. Hold the right knee in your right hand, left hand on your hip, open the right knee out towards the right. Maybe hold underneath the right thigh and practice straightening, bending that knee. And then we're going to twist it. We're going to just a little bit. Both bums will stay on the floor. Take your right knee towards the left until your left hand can support your right knee. I like to take my right thumb to my right hip crease and push, lengthen the side body, and then straight. You could bend and straighten, or you might want to straighten and hold. I'm beginning to get into the outer right hip here. Now hold on to the outer right knee, come all the way into that Supta twist. Belly button to the spine, lots of length. And then unwind. Right leg comes out, left knee pulls in. And we're not even really talking about one of the skills we're developing, which is mindfulness and concentration, this ability to really focus, pay attention, and especially to ourselves. We're working the pull in of the left knee and the push out of the right foot. Help you find that just right hip stretch on the front of the right hip. I'm free to move a little bit if that feels like it might help you adjust into a different stretch. Maybe walking the hands down the left tib fib and circling out the foot. Work the left hand to the left knee, right hand on your hip. Open the left knee up to the left as you keep the right hip anchored down. This might be a great spot for you, or flip the hands you're holding underneath the left thigh so that the knee can extend straight and bend. Okay, the next time the knee bends, we're going to switch the hands. So we'll start to move the left knee over to the right. So the right hand can hold the knee, but keep the hips on the foam roller. Left thumb can come into the left hip. Maybe it pushes straight away as your whole side gets longer. And maybe you can straighten and bend that left leg too. I'm not having so much sensation just pushing my hip away. I'm not even going to do anything with my leg and just be with the sensation in my side. And then take it into your deeper twist, rolling onto the outer edge of the right hip. Left knee pulls across the body as much as you feel is appropriate for you this morning. You won't be here long. As you inhale, unwind. Push your foam roller forward. We're going to put our feet on the foam roller. Push down into the foam roller. And then lift the hips up off the floor. To lower your spine down, one vertebrae at a time, from the top of your spine down to the base of your spine. And then roll it up in the reverse direction as you stretch the knees forward and peel the spine up off the floor again. Really nice, roll it down. So we're going to take the foam roller further forward with the help of our heels. And we're going to start to massage the calves. You can pull the knees in, push them out. And take little windshield wipers of the feet as you do this. If this isn't, if you'd like more sensation, you can help yourself up to sitting and do this more in a Paschimottanasana, Dandasana. And you can do both calves at the same time. Up and back, switch are more strokes, side to side, cross fiber, or you can go in for compression. You could even cross an ankle. So I have one foot crossed over my other foot and I'm even gonna lean a little bit forward. So now I have a lot more pressure on my calves. And then I'm gonna do range of motion with that right foot. I'm gonna feel around until I pin down a sensitive spot. I'm gonna let myself feel that sensitive spot. And then range of motion that foot. I'm just repeating that as you feel needed. And I can just watch my mind try to think me out of the feeling experience. Which again is fine. Let's do the other side. Figuring out your use of pressure. Well, while we do this class, you could also have your other tools available. So when you have a more broad tool, a foam roller is a pretty broad tool, you could go for a harder, smaller tool. If you wanted to get in deeper towards a calf, you could like trade off for a ball, for example. And tightness in the calf, it affects tightness all the way up the back. And it's going to be a really great time to spend more time, but since we're trying to keep this class short, let's move on. Pull the foam roller back in and we're going to transition to sitting in it. Finding your balance on the foam roller, we're going to come into a hip stretch. Let's do the right leg first. I'm going to take my right leg and put it over my left leg. Just doing this on the floor would be great too. You can just find a lot of this massage on the floor too. And then you can begin to roll out your right glute. Even just rolling out the glute with both feet on the floor is great. So you can experiment. When you take your foot into this external position, it helps pop out some tight muscles that can stay hidden. Get up on this, all over that area. And now let's extend that right leg straight forward to the pinky edge of the foot's on the floor. It's all turned out. And then we're going to turn ourselves to the right and we're going to step the left foot in front. We're going to go up and down the outer right hip. So you can go way up onto the top of your ilium here where glutes attach. Or you can go down more onto your tensor fascia lata and your IT band down on the thigh. Let's come over back through center. Take a little pause. And then we'll prepare on the other side. So left foot crosses over right, if you'd like, or foot on the floor. Doing those kind of hello strokes, covering the entire surface so that your body can start to send signals to your mind about where's a more needed spot for you to be. Notice if you're holding any extra needed tension in the face or jaw, hands, toes. At some point, begin to transfer so the left leg extends forward, pinky toe on the floor, right foot steps over the left. And either keeping the bolster more up towards the pelvis, getting more gluteus medius and minor, or going down lower to the side of the leg. Okay. Really nice. Back to center. Take a little seat in front of your foam roller for a moment. Doing another check-in, observing how our inner state can change so many times. And we're gonna begin to move down on our back again. This time I want the foam roller right kind of behind the rib cage. So the thoracic spine. Take your hands behind your head. We're gonna do a little crunch up, so you're looking between your knees, and then we're gonna lower ourselves back. Could roll around a little bit, but doing this crunch up and then open back. And you crunch up to the side and then you open up in that same direction. Like the antidote for sitting, looking down so much. If you go back really easily here, don't feel much of a stretch, you could add some more core strength to give your chest some resistance. Good, push on your feet and roll a little bit up and down. We could do a little crunch up to the right and roll up and down. So you're getting more of the erector muscles on the right side of the spine, and a little crunch to the left. Oh, erector's left side, some of that rotator cuff. Okay, and then lower your bum on the floor. Now we're going to take our foam roller up to the base of our hairline, your occiput muscles. Your legs could be extended or your feet can be on the floor. Positioning that your foam roller underneath those muscles, right at the base of the spine. You can reach up and kind of feel them, so you need to locate them, and push the head into the floor or the foam roller. Then applying pressure with the head into the foam roller. Turn the right ear towards the foam roller, massaging out that occiput area. Come back through center, pushing pressure into that base of the head as you rotate the head in the other direction, moving at your own rate. When you find a spot with more sensation, you could pause, do little nods, do little no's. Maybe bring the head back through center. Last one, we're going to move the foam roller. I have to get over for this one. I'm going to lay down on it lengthwise. Also, my head is supported by the foam roller too. If your foam roller is shorter, you could put a pillow or a block underneath your hip so your spine's at the same level. Open your feet wide. So your feet, and then with your feet wide, steer yourself from one side to the other. So your feet are really your guide. Okay, so now extend your arms towards the sky. I like to interlace my fingers and extend the index finger personally. And then we're going to push the feet towards the right, and then we're going to lower our fingers towards the right. And see how much we can rotate the spine. Then when I come back through center, hands go left, knees up, and then push towards the left. Knees go to the left, arms go to the left, like massaging even the deltoid maybe. Going back and forth on your own. I have to shift around quite a bit for this. And come back through center. Open the arms wide. back of the hands to the floor. And bring your arms together, cross your arms, little hug. Take some deep breaths up into your hug, up into the back of your heart. Now inhale, open the arms. Notice what arm was on top. We're gonna go the opposite arm. Big arms. With your arms big, do a little bit of snow angels. Shoulders integrated. Arms go up and arms go down. And then arms cross the body, self-hug, opposite arm on front. Nice, open up. We're gonna roll off of the foam roller to one side, downward facing dog. Move through the body, notice how you're feeling. Walk your hands back to your feet, or your feet forward towards your hands, forward fold. And we're gonna slowly roll up, push down through the feet. So you roll up one vertebrae at a time. If there's some sensation in some areas, you could stay there a little bit longer. When you do get up, stretch the arms up. Take your time. You can stretch around a little bit up here. And when you're feeling complete with your stretches, lower your hands down by your side, eyes closed, maybe feet a little wide. And connect to yourself. And I'm going to begin to practice connecting outside to our environment, to letting the eyes begin to open. Taking in the light. And seeing if you can feel the connection inside and out. Thank yourself for showing up. Great, thanks for being here.